Have you ever noticed that sometimes a simple smile lasts far longer in your memory than an entire conversation? Most people assume they understand why someone smiles at them. They immediately create a story inside their minds. They assume attraction, they assume interest, they assume possibility. But human psychology has never been that simple. A smile is one of the most misunderstood forms of communication because it reflects much more than desire. It reflects curiosity, emotional safety, admiration, familiarity, confidence, respect, comfort, and sometimes nothing more than appreciation for someone's presence. Yet countless people spend years believing every smile has the same meaning. The truth is that it never does. And the moment you understand what truly causes a genuine smile, you stop chasing fantasies and begin understanding people. That is where emotional intelligence begins. It begins with the willingness to stop assuming and start observing, because the strongest impressions are rarely created by appearance alone. They are created by emotional experiences that people cannot easily explain. One of the greatest misconceptions in modern relationships is believing that youth automatically seeks youth. While similarity often creates comfort, psychology repeatedly shows that emotional experiences frequently outweigh superficial characteristics. People are naturally drawn toward individuals who make them feel something positive about themselves. This principle applies across friendships, workplaces, families, and romantic situations alike. Confidence has no expiration date. Calmness has no expiration date. Emotional maturity has no expiration date. Security has no expiration date. When someone consistently demonstrates these qualities, they create an atmosphere where others instinctively relax. Human beings are constantly scanning their environment for emotional safety. They ask invisible questions without speaking them. Can I trust this person? Will this person judge me? Do I feel respected here? Can I be myself? These questions are answered within seconds through body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and emotional consistency, rather than through words. Many younger women grow up surrounded by constant comparison, social pressure, unrealistic beauty standards, and endless competition. Every day they are encouraged to impress, perform, and seek validation. Their lives become filled with uncertainty about whether they are enough. When they unexpectedly encounter someone whose presence feels calm instead of competitive, whose attention feels respectful instead of demanding, whose conversation feels genuine instead of performative, their nervous system responds before their conscious mind does. Sometimes that response appears as a warm smile. Not because of fantasy, but because emotional tension quietly disappears for a brief moment. Relief often looks like attraction from the outside, even though psychologically it begins somewhere entirely different. People often underestimate the incredible influence of emotional predictability. The human brain loves patterns that feel safe. Someone who remains emotionally balanced during conversations sends a powerful subconscious message. There is no pressure here. There is no emotional chaos here. There is no unnecessary performance here. In a world where many interactions are rushed, distracted, and filled with hidden agendas, genuine emotional steadiness becomes surprisingly rare. Rarity creates value. What people encounter less frequently often leaves the strongest impression. This is why authenticity consistently outperforms exaggerated confidence. People remember how they felt around someone long after they forget the exact words that were spoken. Psychologists frequently discuss emotional contagion, the invisible process through which feelings spread from one person to another. Anxiety spreads, confidence spreads, joy spreads, calm spreads. If someone enters every conversation seeking approval, insecurity quietly fills the room. If someone enters every interaction completely comfortable with themselves, that comfort begins influencing everyone nearby. This is not manipulation, it is simply how human nervous systems interact. We constantly regulate one another emotionally without realizing it. That effortless smile often begins because another person's emotional state silently communicates, "Everything is okay here." Another fascinating aspect of human psychology involves perception rather than reality. Experience changes perception. Someone who has lived through challenges often carries a slower pace, listens more carefully, interrupts less frequently, and reacts with greater patience. These qualities cannot be purchased or imitated overnight. They develop naturally through years of experience. Younger individuals often notice these behaviors subconsciously because they contrast sharply with the speed and intensity of modern life. Calm becomes memorable precisely because everything else feels rushed. Stillness attracts attention because noise has become normal. There is also an important psychological difference between attention and presence. Attention seeks a reaction. Presence creates an experience. Many people desperately seek attention. They try to impress, entertain, persuade, or prove themselves. Presence requires none of these things. Presence simply exists. It listens completely. It notices details. It responds thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Genuine presence is surprisingly uncommon, which makes it emotionally powerful. When someone feels truly seen without feeling judged, appreciation naturally appears through warmth, openness, and often a sincere smile. Another factor people overlook is respect. Respect changes every interaction. When someone communicates respectfully without expecting anything in return, barriers gradually disappear. Respect tells another person that their individuality matters. It removes pressure. It reduces defensiveness. Human beings instinctively appreciate environments where they do not need to protect themselves. Emotional comfort creates openness, and openness frequently appears as friendliness. Unfortunately, many observers misinterpret friendliness because they forget that kindness itself is attractive, regardless of romantic intention. There is another psychological principle worth understanding. Familiarity influences trust. Certain behaviors remind people of positive emotional experiences from earlier stages of life. A reassuring tone, patient listening, thoughtful advice, and emotional consistency can unconsciously activate feelings of security associated with mentors, caring relatives, supportive teachers, or dependable role models. This emotional familiarity creates warmth that has little to do with physical appearance. The brain constantly searches for emotional patterns it already recognizes as safe. Modern culture often overemphasizes visual attraction while underestimating emotional attraction. Physical beauty captures attention quickly, but emotional experiences determine whether someone remembers the interaction. Someone may admire appearance for seconds, but remember emotional safety for years. Neuroscience consistently demonstrates that emotionally meaningful experiences strengthen memory far more effectively than ordinary interactions. This explains why brief conversations sometimes become unforgettable, while lengthy encounters disappear from memory almost immediately. Confidence deserves special attention because genuine confidence is often misunderstood. True confidence is remarkably quiet. It does not compete for attention. It does not dominate conversations. It does not constantly seek validation. Genuine confidence allows silence to exist comfortably. It allows disagreement without becoming defensive. It accepts uncertainty without panic. People naturally relax around individuals who do not constantly need to prove themselves. Emotional stability reduces social tension, making interactions feel surprisingly effortless. Smiles also emerge from admiration rather than attraction. Admiration grows when someone demonstrates integrity, wisdom, humor, emotional discipline, or resilience. These qualities inspire people because they represent characteristics many hope to develop themselves. Admiration often carries warmth, appreciation, and curiosity. Yet observers frequently confuse admiration with romantic interest because both emotions can produce similar facial expressions. Understanding this distinction protects people from unrealistic expectations while encouraging healthier relationships built on mutual respect. Another overlooked truth is that kindness has become unexpectedly memorable. In a world filled with distractions, simple acts of patience, politeness, and consideration stand out more than ever before. Holding eye contact while listening, remembering details from previous conversations, speaking with genuine interest, and treating everyone respectfully communicate emotional maturity. These behaviors leave impressions that expensive clothing or impressive possessions rarely achieve. Human beings crave dignity. When someone consistently offers it, appreciation naturally follows. Perhaps the most powerful realization is that people smile most sincerely when they feel better about themselves after an interaction. They leave thinking, I felt heard, I felt respected, I felt comfortable, I felt accepted. Notice that none of these feelings depend on age. They depend entirely upon emotional experience. Every meaningful relationship, whether romantic, professional, or platonic, is built upon repeated positive emotional experiences rather than assumptions or appearances alone. Psychology repeatedly reminds us that attraction is layered, complicated, and deeply personal. Reducing every smile to romantic interest ignores the richness of human emotion. Sometimes a smile expresses gratitude, sometimes relief, sometimes admiration, sometimes simple happiness, sometimes curiosity about someone whose presence feels refreshingly different. Understanding these possibilities encourages emotional maturity because it replaces assumption with observation. The wisest approach is never to ask, why did someone smile, but rather, what kind of emotional experience did this interaction create? That question changes everything. It shifts attention away from ego and toward empathy. It encourages people to become emotionally aware instead of emotionally reactive. And ultimately, those who consistently create feelings of safety, respect, calmness, and authenticity become memorable regardless of age, status, or appearance. Human beings rarely remember those who tried hardest to impress them. They remember those who quietly made the world feel lighter, safer, and more genuine, even if only for a few moments. Those moments, more than anything else, explain why an ordinary smile can sometimes carry extraordinary. Meaning, as you leave this conversation, remember one truth that psychology proves again and again. The strongest connections are never built on age, appearances, or clever words. They are built on the emotional experience you create in another person's mind. A genuine smile is not a trophy to collect or a signal to chase. It is often a reflection of the comfort, respect, confidence, and peace someone feels in your presence. The people who leave the deepest mark on others are not those who demand attention. They are those who make others feel understood without trying to impress them. So stop looking for validation in every glance, every smile, or every moment of kindness. Instead, become the kind of person whose character speaks before words ever do, whose confidence is quiet, whose respect is unconditional, and whose presence makes the world feel a little safer. Because in the end, real influence is never about making people notice you. It is about giving them a reason to remember you. Build your value from within, protect your dignity, lead with emotional intelligence, and let your actions create the story that words never could. When your character becomes your greatest strength, you will never have to chase respect, admiration, or meaningful connection again. They will naturally follow.